to buy more. Well, you don't need snow. You don't need skis. You don't need ski champions either, right? You have a lot of them. We just want to keep the relationship the way it is. We've had a great relationship. I think now maybe closer than ever, but we've had a great relationship with Norway. I think just keep it the way it is, kid. You can't do better.
Really? Not even by, say,
Well, if they want to give us some additional
Can you
concessions,
touch it?
that's okay. You can't do much better. Yes,
Mr.
yes.
President, you had a long meeting with Norway today. You said
Just so
that
you know,
Norway
you
did
can
a lot of
watch
things right, but on
Trump
Ukraine,
behind me
if I can
on
ask both
YouTube
you
right
and the
now.
Prime Minister,
I
did
think
you
I'm
find
live
common
streaming.
ground
I'm
today
honestly
on Ukraine and the
doing it
peace
myself, and I don't know what the
It's
fuck is
totally
going on.
common ground.
If I can be
The Prime Minister can
completely
speak
honest.
about it, but I can just say he wants to see people stop dying more than anything else, and he'd like to see it end. He's going to help us end it.
Mr. Can I say that to move towards an end of this
You
war,
are
U.S.
quite
engagement is critical, and President Trump made that possible. That is clear, that is obvious, it's really happening. Now, the important thing is that both parties have to know that they have to deliver, and they have to feel
Trump is with
pressure
the
to
Prime
deliver.
Minister of Norway.
Ukraine is under attack.
You can see
They are
it on
defending
YouTube.
themselves.
If you go to my YouTube right
Lives
now,
are being lost.
you can hear it here.
And we believe very firmly that there needs to be a ceasefire, the initiative taken by the US some time ago. It needs to be respected. And then to move on to something which both parties can
Yeah,
hold. That is
in
the
order to
complicated
not
part,
see
part in
green
such
behind
a
me, you
dramatic
gotta go
war.
to YouTube.
And here I believe
That's what I'm
Europeans
telling
and
you.
Americans working together, as we do much closer now. And I salute the team of President Trump of being, open in that process. We had a good discussion on this today. And then we have to move on, and we cannot lose time because this is too much drama happening. One thing is people losing their lives, but it is a bad thing for Europe, and it's a bad thing for the world to having such a broad conflict going on. It can have ramifications far beyond Ukraine.
Mr. President, a follow-up question on China.
Mr. President.
Hello, YouTube. Oh, thanhanks. I fucking love you too.
I wanted to ask about
Sorry, that happens.
it happens sometimes, yeah. No, Mr. President, I wanted to ask about the, Zelensky has said that he wants more Patriot missiles. So far, has been no response from the United States. If you and the United States decides to pull out of negotiating for peace, trying to broker peace, does that also mean a no on Patriot missiles, a no on sharing intelligence with Ukraine?
Let's see what happens. I think we're going to make a deal. And if we make a deal, that'll be wonderful. We won't have to worry about your question. You can ask that question in 2 weeks, and we'll see. But I think we're getting very close. The Prime Minister feels the same way, and we'll hopefully not have to answer that question.
Mr. President,
Oh, I see people switching over from Instagram. I love that. Hi, everybody.
After Liberation Day. Why did you invite Norway so soon to the White House?
Thank you,
Because
sir.
I like them. And I like you, Prime Minister, and I like the way your government runs. And I respect the king. He's highly respected in Norway. It's a great thing, not an easy thing to do. He's done a great job.
Not an easy thing to do being a king,
Invitation to visit
Donald
the king?
Trump says.
Absolutely. You get me that invitation.
I just told the President he's welcome to visit.
President Trump, we're quite far
Yeah,
from,
please.
you said before that you...
I'm not going to pull it all the way up, but I can straighten it a little bit.
And I'm wondering...
Shout out from the Philippines. Hello, Philippines. Hello, Marilee.
Well, this fund was created in the late 1990s to
this
save
is the Prime Minister
for
of
future
Norway.
generations the income from our oil and gas. Norwegians should continue to work as hard, dedicated, innovate and move forward, despite having these incomes, which we happen to be in the period of our history where we can harvest, and we have transferred that into investments, half of them, by the way, here in the United States. So I think this is a model which we have been able to explore. If we can share experiences, and we do with our colleagues in the US, you never copy this one-to-one, but there can be techniques and way of working that we have used in organizing our fund. Jens Stoltenberg was the finance minister when the first dollar entered that fund, so he is a safe hand to have as a finance minister today. What do you say?
No, and as you said, Mr. Prime Minister, we are ready to sit down with the US to also work with them on if they want to establish a sovereign wealth fund, because we have a good experience with our fund. And I think that one example of how we work together with the United States is that half of the fund, close to $1 trillion are invested in the United States, mainly
Sounds
in
like he
equity,
keeps
but also
talking
some
about a phone.
fixed income, including government bonds. So this is an expression of trust in the United States, expressed by the strong investment of the sovereign wealth fund. Then just briefly on Ukraine, since it was mentioned, we had a very good and extensive discussion about Ukraine, the path forward to peace. And as the Prime Minister said, we commend the US for pushing forward to try to find a negotiated solution. At the same time, we need to continue to support Ukraine. And therefore, I'm proud that Norway has actually tripled the military support to Ukraine. And this year we will allocate close to $8 billion to Ukraine. That will strengthen them and also their hand on the negotiating table.
If I may add to that, if there's a peace, and there will be a peace, we have a common responsibility in securing democratic Ukraine for the future. And the best security guarantee they can have is the ability to defend themselves. And we are investing in that.
Mr. Prime Minister,
If I may, as it relates to tariffs,
Thanks, everybody. Wow, I'm getting a lot of compliments on
tariffs
Instagram
on
and
April the
TikTok
2nd,
right now.
tariff rate
You guys
for
can see what's
Norway
behind me on
was
YouTube.
15%. Based upon your conversations that you've had today with the Prime Minister, do you see that tariff rate coming down from what
Nick
you
says that
proposed
Kellerman's
just
fans
a
are
few
critical
weeks ago?
thinkers, and
Well,
you
they have
know,
a great fund.
most of them are.
Of $2 trillion. It's a big fund. And they don't have any debt. So I think they'd probably be willing to pay us more than that, I hope.
Are the terms in agreement of which
Mr. President,
Yes.
in 2018, your former Secretary of State Mike Pompeo called for an end to Russian occupation of Crimea. Why does this administration, why has this administration changed its stance?
Thank you,
on
Denise.
territorial concessions?
Well, the war started. It would have never started if I were president. This is a war that is horrible. All wars are horrible. This one is in particular bad. And I don't know that you can ever say there's going to be a winner to this, because so many lives have been lost. Not only soldiers, a lot of lives have been lost. I think that we want to do one very simple thing. It would have never happened if I were president. Zero chance it was going to. And it didn't. People say, how do you know that? Number one, it didn't happen. We never even discussed it. I would talk to Putin about it. It was the apple of his eye. Ukraine was the apple of Putin's eye, but there was never even a thought that he'd go in. And I think he understood that I would not be happy if he did. And it was only when I got out, and when you mention what happened to Ukraine years ago under President Obama and a vice president that was also president later, unfortunately for this country, what happened is large chunks of land were given up, and it was called Crimea, and that was a big thing. That was a big moment. But this isn't my war. This is Biden's war. This is a war that Biden was president when this war happened. But I'm trying to put out the fire, and I think we'll be successful.
Yeah, but now you're
We're gonna
president
save a
while
lot of
this is
lives.
happening.
Otherwise, and the Prime Minister had a statement. He said, "This is just a point in time. We're very lucky because this is a point, and if this doesn't happen, this could go on for a long time."
Mr. President, will you have meetings with other world leaders when you're in Rome, sir?
Future Democrat president?
I don't think he will. I think he wants to make
Thanks, guys.
peace.
Thanks
I
for all
think he
the
wants to end
kind
it,
words.
and I feel pretty confident of that. But we're gonna know pretty soon.
Mr. President,
You're ending your
will you have
first
meetings? Will you have
President.
meetings with other world leaders when you're in Rome?
Yes, I will.
Which leaders do you want to meet, sir?
Well, I'd like to meet them all.
Thanks,
It'd be
Wes.
nice. I'd like
Stay
to
out of
take care
trouble.
all of them, but we have many
God,
of them
people
there,
get
and they
in
all
trouble
wanna
at work for
meet. They
watching
wanna meet
my
about
live.
trade. And we are making some great inroads and great deals. You might want to speak about that, Mr. Secretary.
We had a very successful bilateral meeting with the Republic of South Korea today. We may be moving faster than I thought, and we will be talking technical terms as early as next week as we reach an agreement on understanding as soon as next week. So South
they all buy their
Koreans,
suits together?
came early. They came with their A game, and we will see if they follow through on that.
President, you're rounding up your first meeting.
Do you think
You deserve the Nobel Peace Prize.
I fit right in with these guys.
Do I deserve the Nobel?
If you magic
Well, maybe for the Abraham Accords. I don't want to get ahead of myself on this one, but they say for the Abraham Accords, and by the way, speaking of that, we're going to be filling it up. A lot of countries want to come into the Abraham Accords. You know, we have 4, and Biden did nothing on that one, too. It's the same 4. But they're great countries, and they were brave doing it, and it's worked out very well. And we're going to be filling up the Abraham Accords. They're going to be, I think, filling it up very rapidly. Marco, could you say something about that?
There's great enormous opportunity to grow the Abraham Accords. But I would just point to one thing. Of all the leaders in the world today, no leader is working harder to prevent wars or end them than President Trump is right now. That's why we're talking to Iran. That's why we're engaged with Ukraine and Russia. It's the desire to prevent these wars from breaking out and to end the ones that exist already. And again, I just think it's tremendous for our country to be led by a president who desires to bring peace and establish peace and protect peace. So it's hard work.
Mr. President.
Just
Marco
so
just
it's
mentioned
said,
something that maybe
you know, the U.S. has
talk
never
about
had
for
a
just a
president.
second,
Well, maybe
if
not
we could,
never.
Mr.
Has
Prime
not in my
Minister. You're
lifetime had a
involved in it, too,
president that
because
was
you've
like
been
super into
involved in the
war.
world and peace. But I think we're doing very well with respect to Iran.
At least not outwardly, you know,
And we're
not
having
publicly,
very serious meetings.
not openly.
And there
maybe,
are only
maybe,
2 options.
maybe Bush Jr.
And the one option is not a good option. It's not a good option at all. And
Trump is the president of the
I think
United
we're doing
States.
very
He's
well
the
on
most powerful
an
person
agreement with
in
Iran.
the most powerful
But
country.
that one, we're doing a lot of things, I will say.
Yeah, he's
But
got to
that
be
one
involved
is,
in all the wars.
Well
going
on its
on.
way, we could have a very, very good decision, and a lot of lives will be saved.
Mr. President,
I'm just saying, it's just that it's not like out of the kindness of his heart that he's involving himself in these wars. It's basically his job.
Since 2009. Is that an economic indicator, and perhaps the Treasury Secretary can weigh in on this as well, is that an economic indicator that concerns you about the broader U.S. economy?
No, they have very good numbers on housing today, extremely good numbers, and that's despite interest rates, because, you know, if you look at what happened, everyone said, oh, I said I was going to get prices down. I did. Energy just hit $1.98 in a couple of states. It's way down. Energy's down, and we're about $64 a barrel.
When does that savings get passed on
to
to
89,
us
90,
consumers,
$95.
you know?
And by the way, that helps us
Shit's
solve
still
the war,
expensive
too.
where I
Having
am.
those energy prices is a big incentive for Russia to also agree with solving the war problem. Groceries are down. When I was with you 2 months ago, you were complaining about eggs. I said, I just got here. I was here for about a week when the press started saying about eggs have gone through the roof. I said, I just got here. Tell me about eggs. And they happened. They went through the roof and you couldn't get them. So we just had a big Easter egg hunt at the White House. Thousands and thousands of eggs. And the price was down 87%. So we did a great job.
That number is
doing
completely
very well.
inaccurate, by the way.
We should lower interest rates. That's the Fed.
I
hope
believe
they
that what
lower
he's
interest
referring
rates. That's a
to
smart thing to
is
do. Be ahead a little
wholesale
bit,
price.
although already it's a little bit late.
You know, farmers' prices
In the end,
are
we just
way
have a
down.
great country. We have a very strong
But grocery
country.
store
and we have
prices
every other
still
country.
high.
I can't think of one country that doesn't want to negotiate a deal. And they either negotiate a deal or we set a deal that we think is fair. Because we don't have to go through all of these. It would be physically impossible. You know, you have so many people that really understand it, which is a very small group of people here.
Someone said they heard it was
And
$17,000
we are
for the
going
eggs
to,
that they
at some
used.
point, just set
They used the
prices
White
for
House
deals.
event.
Some will be tariffed. Some treated us very unfairly. They'll be tariffed higher than others. But we've been ripped off for many, many years. The United States has been ripped off like no country probably in the history of the world has been ripped off for 45, 50 years. And countries have gotten rich by doing that with the United States. We've taken care of their militaries, and military is another subject we talk about. We're not going to make that subject to any of the deals.
Yes, we
But,
have helped
you know,
create
you
global
know the same countries
prosperity.
that I do, where we virtually
Although
take care of their
that's been
military,
falling apart
and then don't
more
get treated
recently,
fairly
I
on
would say.
trade. So the people, and I don't blame those countries. I blame the people that sat at that beautiful desk right behind you, because those people didn't do the job for this country, and they let us lose $4 billion a day on trade. We were losing $4 or $5 billion a day on trade when I got here, and now we're going to be much better than breaking even, and we're going to be making $4 or $5 billion a day on trade. So
I heard those numbers were
I don't
inaccurate,
blame
but
any
truthfully, I
country,
haven't
not,
looked
not
that much
the worst
into
of
it.
them. We were abused by countries. I blame the president of the United States that happened to be sitting when these deals were made. Disgraceful. When I was here, we had a great 4 years. We had the most successful economy in the history of our country, my first term. And we were very tough on trade. And with China, as you know, they paid hundreds of billions of dollars in tariffs. But nobody else ever did that. China paid not 10 cents to any other president. And but not only China, virtually every country got away with murder. And we just can't let that happen. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you very much.
Oh, that's it already? All right, well, I'll stay on live for a few extra minutes. Why not? Make sure this is paused here, yeah. How's everybody feeling? It sounds like Trump and the Prime Minister of Norway are getting along. And they're, I guess, not going to have any trade problems, according to them. And Norway, I guess, is more involved in peace negotiations with Russia and Ukraine. Oh, people. Okay, all right. Let me answer questions. First of all, on YouTube, somebody said that they go back to my recent Take a Breath video. Thank you. I'm glad that you liked that. I really, I hope that helped a few of you. And I think I'm gonna pin that because people have told me that they liked that. Gosh, there was something somebody said on Instagram that I wanted to respond to, but now I don't remember what it was. When Pope died, I already reported that. Where'd he get those numbers? The numbers that Trump is referring to are all over the place. And I've seen reports saying that they're just completely made up, and I've seen reports saying that they're based on these other numbers and blah, 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 blah. The truth is, I don't know exactly where he's getting the numbers. I assume there's someone in his cabinet who researches and gives him these numbers, and he doesn't double check them, is why I assume he gives these numbers that are wrong. So I think we all know that egg prices are not, if you buy eggs, you know that egg prices are not down 87% from what they were. They might be like $1 or $2 cheaper, but it really depends. Truly, it probably depends on where you are, but egg prices are still high, guys. So I'm not saying he's lying. I'm saying he has the wrong information. And we all just know that. We all know that that's wrong. The real thing is that it's part of I don't really understand why everybody gets hung up on the fucking eggs in the first place. The economy is so much bigger than eggs, and the eggs themselves were part of like a bird flu pandemic. There was a whole, like, eggs were made to be an indicator of our economy, when in fact the egg prices were a totally separate issue. If the economy was chugging along just fine, there would have still been an egg problem. So, you know, it's not like eggs are like what everyone has to eat all the time or something like that. I never really understood why everyone kept harping on eggs, good or bad. Both sides of the aisle did it. I never understood why. Eggs are a separate issue, and it's not there's no conspiracy about it. There was an egg issue. Anyways, yeah, gas I think went down by $1 recently, but again, it's still way up from like his last term. Anyways, I hope you're all having a great week. I feel like the news cycle is like completely just the Pope. He's having a 3-day open casket, which sounds gross. You don't want to be there on the 3rd day, you know. But I don't know exactly how they choose the new Pope, but I did watch Conclave, and if it's anything like that, there's a bunch of Pope hopefuls running around the Vatican trying to play secret politics with each other. One of the Pope hopeful, and has everybody seen Conclave? This guy like gets yelled at and accused of cheating on his wife, and instantly it's like, even if someone just accuses you of that, we can't even consider you. Popefuls. I like that.
Sorry, I don't understand.
My Siri did not understand popefuls, but I thought it was hysterical, Nick. Anyways, I'm not going to do a live all day, so I really appreciate you guys joining me. Follow me on all the different things. I don't really ever know when I'm going to go live. I don't always go live on everything all at once. Substack is important for you to subscribe to, even if you just do the free version of it, that's fine. Make sure you're on my YouTube. I'm trying to grow that up. Let's boost up the YouTube a little bit, huh? Share it. Share it. Get it out there. Subscribe. And, you know, if you're already following me on Instagram and TikTok, I appreciate you all just the same. So, I hope everybody has a wonderful day. And I will see you at the next press briefing, probably.